Anyway, what's going on, Red?
We're chilling. We're playing video games. We're out here. We've been away from the show for a minute.
It's time for season 2.
Yeah, it's time for the big encore, the big Dubskis,
The
season 2 Electric Boogaloo.
season 2 Obscura Boogaloo.
Dang, that was terrible.
I know. I just nearly died on a blanket, so my brain's not
Dang.
working.
Well, maybe if you turned it off and back on again, it would work just fine.
My brain?
I'm just saying, yeah. Have you tried taking the battery out?
Yeah, I did. And my heart
Dang.
stopped.
So, what have you been playing lately? What's up in the world of video games in Zephyrland?
In Zephyrland, aside from the absolutely insanely long Red Dead Redemption 2 series, Neon White,
Neon White is badass.
I love it.
Such a good soundtrack.
I did well. FTP. I don't want to. I'm sure you don't care, but Shadowline and stuff like that. We're doing the FTP protocol, which is the other podcast. Uh, I started playing Ascension. Oh no, I beat Ascension, and I started doing Wind Waker, but I decided I wanted to do a Wind Waker series. Then my YouTube channel got shadow banned because of After Hours.
That sucked. You know, it's a shame that like it's something relatively tame in comparison to a lot of modern television can get you like pushed down in the algorithm. You know, there's a
It
It's
truly
not even
is.
that bad. Like,
It's
it's kinda bad, but it's
pretty
not even
bad.
that bad.
It's pretty bad. What
I've
about
been
you?
watching through Sons of Anarchy. That's part of what I've been doing lately, and then if you've ever seen that, I can't believe that show got, allowed on television. Like, it's good, it's really good, but it's not like AMC, Showtime, HBO Max it aired on fucking public daytime television, and some of the shit that happens in that show, man, it is just like, no spoilers, no spoilers whatsoever, but you need a strong stomach for it.
Oh, sheesh. I don't plan on watching it. Uh, you know how I am with television. I'm watching Naruto again.
Yeah. That's Anime's kinda different though, you know?
I love anime. And then we'll be watching Fullmetal Alchemist, Berserk, The Outcast,
I've
Eureka
been watching,
7.
I found out that the guy that did Serial Experiments Lane also did Black Heaven, and I was like, "Wow, I gotta watch through Black Heaven again." I didn't even notice that.
Oh, that's due.
Yeah. So that's that'll take up some time. I wanna do aside from, like, retro game achievements is something I've been doing lately, um, I wanna do here in a little bit, I'm gonna do the stream for I can't decide on whether I wanna do Silent Hill or Resident Evil Director's Cut first,
Oof,
just
they're
'cause.
both solid options.
Right. And I have
Oh,
both
man.
emails.
Director's cut because the music is insane, or Silent Hill because pacifist runs are a joke. I just did a
Uh,
pacifist. I think you have to do director's cut.
I think I have to too, honestly. Resident Evil's calling my name. I just
Wait a minute.
it's that season.
Resident Evil director's cut,
Dual
pacifist?
Shock Edition. Can
Pacifist
you even
run?
can you even do a pack like, I'm not sure if that's possible. I know there's, like, a lot of stuff you can avoid, but I'm not sure if you can avoid everything.
Try?
I'll try. I'll try. I'll give it a shot. I don't
Oh,
know. That
dude.
sounds like a fun thing to do.
I did, I don't know if this was before or after the season ended of the first season of Omnia Obscurum, but I did the Silent Hill 1 replay, but I did a pacifist run through on the channel
I don't remember. You played Silent Hill what, last year?
2 months ago.
Yeah, that's what I figured,
I
like,
streamed the
right at
whole
the end
thing.
of the year.
Yeah, I did, an edit where I was making fun of isn't the right word, I guess, inspired by that of a famous game that was inspired by Earthbound. It's escaping me right now.
Uh,
You fight a flower?
oh, Speaking of weird games, did you see the? I sent you Golvelius
Yes,
earlier,
yes.
and that is super interesting. I played the beginning,
Mhm.
and it's you gotta just experience it to understand. Like looking at it doesn't do it any justice. You have to feel how the game actually plays to understand why I think it's so good. It's it's something else entirely. It's like Zelda, but also Zelda 2, but also like Pocky and Rocky. You know?
I did download it.
There's a weird array of stuff mixed into this game. It's such a strange, and the art is really good for Sega Master System. Like a solid entry.
I'll have to check that out at some point. What else have I been doing? I don't think I've really been doing much of anything else. I mean, I had to redo my living room, so I put a 65-inch in a sound system in. Uh,
You had mentioned you picked up a 65-inch for like dirt cheap.
yeah, it was under $300. They were price matching
Holy
at
crap.
Walmart, and we just went in, grabbed one off the shelf, and walked out with it.
Damn. Question of the day: have you ever bought over 50-inch TV for under $300?
Yes,
Leave a comment.
I have. We almost went with the 700, and that was $440.
Wow.
But we did the
Holy crap.
measurements, and it wouldn't fit in my room. For those of you who don't know, it takes 3 staircases to get to where I live.
Just delete the walls.
It's currently mounted in a concrete foundation wall.
Delete the concrete. I'm telling you, life will be so much easier.
It's freaking dope though, like we were watching Naruto and it's like you got your own private movie theater. It's nuts.
That is very due. That's sweet.
I haven't hooked
Um,
anything else up to it though. It's just got the Steam Deck hooked up to it, which is so funny. I love that.
hear anything interesting in the way of video game news lately? Anything cross your mind that like interesting topical wise? Like,
The Well, I mean, obviously the Hogwarts Legacy stuff with J.K. Rowling and as well as the Atomic Heart stuff. They've both been really interesting. I've been trying to keep up with that.
is it true that people have been getting like banned on Twitch just for playing Hogwarts Legacy?
Not to my knowledge, I haven't seen anything like that. I know a lot of YouTubers and a lot of Twitch streamers are doing like Trevor Project charity funds and stuff like that,
Huh.
which is pretty cool to me. I donated. I did $60. But
Big up the charities.
mhm. I know who you are with charity as well. That's huge to you.
Yeah, I especially like it. Donate to children because they are
Mhm.
literally the future.
That's why I choose Trevor Project. Provide people therapy and help where they need it.
Right.
And then the Atomic Heart stuff is pretty wild. I guess a bunch of people were like delving into their financial income and they were being like heavily supported by Russia. But I mean, it's a Russian studio, so take it for what it is. But
Most notable bit of gaming news on my mind as of late, the day before, I think is
oh,
what the game is called.
yeah.
The apparently isn't real because like
I
a
guess
bunch
that's
of people have
contentious
been doing.
contentious.
Well, okay, so I've seen the two. There are two gameplay trailers for the game, right? So there is some kind of substance there somewhere. Some people think that like that between trailers, the second one looks like a massive downgrade.
Hmm.
It looks like assets slapped together is one of the arguments I've heard. On the defense side, I've heard people say that it looks really good and buying assets is good for the community. And there's a bunch of like shit that goes into. It's a weird it's a matter of whether or not the game comes out, right?
Right.
Whether it comes out and delivers on what it promises.
How do you feel about asset flips? I don't know if we've ever discussed that.
I think there's a big difference between shoveling out shovelware with an asset flip and buying assets to use because you need assets,
Right.
right? Shovelware is like really quickly made stuff that you could put together in a couple of days, sell for a couple of bucks, shovel out in mass. That stuff is like asset flip, where the assets are bought and resold as games as fast as they're bought, pretty much.
Right.
Uh, Whereas like you can buy assets and it's totally fine. I don't really give a shit. They bought generic clip art for Final Fantasy Intergrade.
Right.
and that was pretty fine. I didn't care about any of
I
that.
I
I have some 3D models I buy on CG Trader.
I'm
Like, even though I know
pro.
how to 3D model.
I'm pro asset flipping. Like, I don't care if it's landscapes. I don't really care if it's the exact same world. None of that really bothers me. Like, as long as you have a decent enough story to tell, your game feels good, and you might only have a team of 3, 4
That
people,
is a good
or you
way to
might
put it.
even be one person. Like,
I'm pro asset flip as long as that asset flip isn't shovelware.
exactly. And I understand that, like, in some contexts, some people are like, okay, well, I could probably make $5 off of this game. But again, as long as it's not shovelware, like, as long as there's some utility to the game.
And and if people call your game bad, don't be the dev who's like a shithead to everybody. That's where the downfall is, right? Because you can make a string of garbage games and nobody will care as long as you're not the one dev who's like the dickhead copyright flagging videos and taking people down and frivolously suing people and shit. You know what
Agreed.
I mean? There's like the people have been that way historically. Some devs have been really fucking terrible
He's talking about
in the
Fez.
past. I'm not I'm not talking about Phil Fish and Fez.
Yes, you are.
I don't like Phil Fish, but that's not because of like I just Phil Fish, he's just kind of rude. I
I'm
think
just
he's like
kidding.
entitled and rude,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like Digital Homicide or the guy that did Day One Gary's Incident, you know what I mean? Where
Hmm.
they just like totally fucking went nuts after the fact. There's a whole slew of shit there that like a
Well,
really bad sector of people who are just using shovelware and being dickheads when they're called out for it.
you and I, we grew up on the internet. Like, you and I have always been participating in the internet all the way back to MySpace, right? So we've
Right.
been like, I've been putting out content online since Newgrounds. Like, even before that, I remember even before that I was posting artwork and things like that online.
I was putting out content in 2008 when I was a teeny tiny little chicken nugget.
But I feel like we're used to the constant stream of hate, but we also are at a point in our careers in our life where we can look at all the positive stuff and be like, "Hey, those people liked it. So fuck the people who say we suck."
Right.
Like,
That's it pays to be a little bit more positive
mhm,
ultimately, just because like when you're positive about stuff, it makes it easier not only to take it in, but to convey it to other people. Negativity sells, right?
you're
And
right.
that's something that the angry video game nerds sold on negativity for a long time, and that's whatever.
I
But it
would
only sells for so long. It's much harder to write good than to write negative.
I would almost say YouTube thrived on hate communities for a long time.
It did. There was a long time there where like drama was the forefront and
Mhm.
centerpiece of YouTube.
Making fun of video games and stuff like that. Like, nowadays, nobody really cares, like, if you're making hate content. Like, if you're just gonna make a video shitting
Right.
on the new Call of
Okay.
Duty, it's like, "Nah, well, whatever. Give us the pros and the cons."
So I messaged you about this a little while back. I was talking about I'm not particularly the biggest fan of channels like Sunny V2 or Internet Anarchist or whatever, just because like I don't care for like rewatching somebody's fall from grace. It's not my thing.
Right.
But it was fun. The funniest thing the other day when I saw Internet Anarchist talking about the downfall of Sunny V2, the first thing that popped into my head was, so who's going to make the downfall of downfall videos video? And when are we going to get that? And how big is it going to get? Because it'll probably be freaking huge. YouTube just loves to push people falling apart for some
It
reason.
certainly does. There's something it's like watching a car accident or what do they call that?
It's less it's gripping, but it's not entertainment. It's just
Drama.
like seriously fucking mortifying when you think about it in retrospect.
Like, I when I watch something like Jay Aubrey or something like that, where they talk about people in such a negative light, I almost feel bad for them because I'm like, what led them to do these things? You know what I mean?
Honestly, people just countless names and faces across YouTube in
Hmm.
over my lifetime have come and gone and risen and fallen And there's a downfall video for every single one of them, and a video for the guy who made the downfall video on them, probably. And that's just something you're going to find everywhere because YouTube pushes that content.
I wonder if there's some tiny channel out there that did a downfall of Zephyrian or something.
And then the downfall, I am Zephyrian.
He's been
He was
making
so
content.
good. He was so good when he was a Twitch streamer, and now
Yeah.
he's a lowly YouTube creator. How dare you?
It's like little do they know, like, I pursued what makes me happy and I changed up my format because I wanted to be happy.
Do that. More people do that. If more people do that and the algorithm starts not getting all of the shit that it pushes all the time, maybe it'll push different shit.
That's true.
If you retrain the algorithm will do different stuff, maybe.
That that's
There's a better approach to all of this.
that's another thing that I've found myself doing quite frequently is I have kind of just moved away from large content creators. I am watching sub 5,000 subscriber channels now.
Exclusively small stuff
Yeah.
because that's just where all of the really good content is right now.
There's a lot of really good content creators who are really putting their heart and soul into the things that they make, and they deserve so much more. I don't want to say any
Every
names because I don't want to clout chase, but you know what I mean.
every once in a while, I'll catch myself watching like a Brutal Moose video or something from Mutahar or something of that nature. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Everybody watches Moist Critical to some degree. Everybody sees him somewhere at some point doing something.
Right.
And those are like, those are your typical, like, those are going to get pushed all over the YouTube algorithm anyway because they're just enormous.
Hmm.
But I don't find myself watching those more than I watch, like, very, very small channels doing long plays of retro games has become something that I'm into because the soundtracks in some retro games are incredible.
I
And you learn a lot watching other people play stuff.
I think one of the people that kind of pushed me into watching more smaller contents was Some Call Me Johnny, because Some Calls Me Johnny always talks about like, oh, I like this song, but I don't really like this song, and the graphics are good here, but they're sloppy here. I feel like
Keeps it
that's
a
content
reasonable voice.
that yeah, he's a gamer first and a content creator second, and that's something I relate to very heavily.
Right. I was playing Shadow the Hedgehog yesterday and the day before. I've been playing through Shadow the Hedgehog again for a little bit.
Yes, dude.
And I cannot for the life of me figure out what the hell is so bad about it. Because it plays like any other 3D Sonic game. It's not all that difficult. It's not all that long. The play is fun for the short time that it's there.
Hmm.
Like, I haven't had an erroneous amount of bugs or weird experience. It's just been like a whatever playthrough. And I'm struggling. I'm struggling to find something to dislike about it. I just can't.
That's
It's
just
an
subjection.
average game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just subjection. I don't enjoy any of the Sonic games. I didn't even like Frontier. I thought they were all kind of ass. But that's just subjection, and we live in a world where people will crucify you for having that opinion, but that's kind of what we fought for. It's kind of the whole point.
Sometimes I do agree with the popular consensus. I tried to be open-minded about Highlight. I went back and I played that and I realized, my god, this game is terrible because I had the experience. I
Hmm.
gave myself the benefit of the doubt walking in, put my expectations up a little, and I went and figured it out. Yeah, I played the game.
I honestly feel at this point there's only two studios that I can really sit here and say they are objectively amazing, and that's Annapurna Games and Rockstar. And I'm talking about Rockstar from a gaming perspective. There's a lot to do, not a studio perspective.
Like Devolver.
Yeah, Devolver's pretty dang good.
And I hate to be that guy because they're massive, but I did sell my soul to Microsoft a long, long time ago. I'm a not a big fan of Microsoft as a tech company, but the Xbox subdivision,
Pretty good.
that's a good place for video games.
But I think that's one of the things that I love about making Omni Obscurium and why there's going to be a season two and probably more is it's very rare to find people who you can have completely different opinions about, and it bounces off each other very well.
I think if you can be healthy about it, you should surround yourself with people who don't share your opinions. Because having multiple perspectives is how we grow and learn and
Hmm.
shape ourselves.
I mean, you weren't a big fan of Red Dead, right? You were like, eh.
I liked Red Dead 1 multiplayer and wasn't really that big into the game, and I don't care for Red Dead 2, but that's just because like and this is a hot take and a half,
Go for it.
do not like Rockstar Games' current games. I think they're way too clunky.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, Red Dead 2 definitely had some clunk, especially in some of the movement.
GTA
Awkward.
5 is super awkward. Like there are some people who are god tier at that game, but it just feels so rough.
Have
It's not smooth and fluid.
since starting Omnia Obscurum, especially with a lot of the titles that you've been like, oh, let's check this out. I've learned that I need to stop for like an hour and just not be my jaded self and just engross myself in something and like master the controls because there are so many games where it's like, oh, this game's bad and I'm never going to play it again because there's so many games. But doing Omni Obscurium, it's like, no, I really need to sit down and learn how this game functions. And
And the
I
worse a
like that.
control scheme you learn, the lower your standards get, the more you appreciate things that aren't really that bad in hindsight.
Like tank controls.
Right.
Tank
Tank
controls.
controls, I still stand by tank controls for Resident Evil and fixed camera survival horror. I think if you play Resident Evil HD with the 8 directional stick movement, you're dumb. It's not meant to be played that way.
But I still don't enjoy Silent Hill or Red Resident Evil 1. Like that's just the way it is. Like as I've experienced games, I also become more critical of the issues that I do see in subjection.
I Resident Evil 1 has a special place in my heart for an
Mhm.
entirely like I've conceded for a long time now that the game is definitely not all that good. The first Resident Evil is a rough patch and the remake not all that good either. But it's like a B movie.
Mhm.
Right? In a series full of triple A movies, it's like one B movie that's like just cheesy enough to be charming.
Right. The other one was that Wolfenstein game you made me play. Uh
Mm. Wolfenstein
2000.
2009.
Yeah. It wasn't that it was a bad game. It just felt like there was no heart, there was no passion, there was no
It
love for
was
the
Call of
Wolfenstein in
Duty
it.
with a Wolfenstein skin.
Yeah.
Like,
It wasn't bad. It was great for its time, but like it's not something I would go back and play or even recommend.
right.
No, I mean, I think I did recommend it. I think I recommended it only if you're a Wolfenstein fan.
Uh, my God. Okay, so I did the damn agent speedrun, and
Mhm.
the Xbox controls for GoldenEye are pretty good. They're like any other first person. You know, the modern control scheme works for a first person shooter on controllers, sort
Right.
of. I'm against controllers these days entirely,
Me too.
mostly. But I've also been playing through GoldenEye and RetroArch, and something that like has stuck out to me is it was not meant to be played single stick. There's no way that game was made to be played that way.
Oh
I
no.
imagine like two controllers, double stick is probably the ideal way to play like you would play Perfect Dark, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I've always thought it was weird. I mean, the N64 alone is a weird console, and going back to it, it's always odd. Um, but one of the things like I'm working on getting my hands on is 4 USB modded N64 controllers because like for whatever reason, even though it's wonky, it's iconic.
Yeah.
Like there's just
I,
something about playing like Super Smash Bros. 64 and GoldenEye and Perfect Dark.
I can't, you know, I have so much trouble with single stick and I've been having this problem with I played Quake 2 for PlayStation 1 a little bit and
Hmm.
a bit of Duke Nukem 3D for PlayStation 1. And this the tank moving in those kinds of games with strafe buttons, that's not the way to go, man. That is just a terrible idea. I don't know what they were thinking. At some point somebody should have sat down and been like, "Hey, what about keyboard and mouse for the console?"
Wow, that was a hot take. I
But I'm
mean,
serious. Like the controls sucked. 90s controls just like overall, it was a learning period for 3D, which is understandable. It
oh,
makes it more
absolutely.
tolerable.
Hmm.
But they sucked. They sucked bad.
See, I didn't play any FPSs around that time. I mean, the hardest game I wanna say I played during that period of time would have been, like, Tomb Raider 1 through 3, and they were hard to play.
I was born in 2000.
Mhm,
And I came up in a family that, like, immediately there was an N64 and a Super Nintendo and a Sega Genesis and, little bits of so I had a wide array of video games just readily there to play as I
mhm.
started getting older. And, like, even back when I was a little kid, there was something just seriously wrong with GoldenEye on the N64 to me. I don't know what it was. That it's just not made you don't play first person shooters with a single stick.
It should have just been common sense at the time, but I guess not.
Honestly, it's a good game. It is a phenomenal game. If you can get past my issues like I just had,
Oh,
remap the controls, do it the right way, it's a good game. Play the modern version, but don't play it with its original control scheme because holy crap, it's bad. It's like I've played some, but it is just so hard to play.
and that also falls into, like, the subjection of things because for Perfect Dark, I mean, I played the hell out of Perfect Dark on the N64. I used to do 4 screen competitive all the time with my friends,
I liked
and
Perfect Dark, but I would argue Perfect Dark was way better because of the two controller setup.
but we never used it.
I found myself using it a couple of times. It was definitively the superior way to play.
It's definitely bizarre. Like, we're gonna be talking about so many different games moving forward. Like, we're gonna be going modern, retro. We're gonna be jumping all over the place because if Omni Obscurium has taught me anything, and I'm sure you can relate to this as well, nothing's really all that bad unless it is.
Yeah. And when something is bad, you know it's bad. It's
Mhm.
the well-read mage on Twitter the other day asked just general question, what game can you think of that's a 1 out of 10 across the board? And it seemed like there were a lot of people who were like, a game has to be literally unplayable for it to be a 1 out of 10.
I agree.
What do you think? Really?
Yeah. I don't think I can think of anything that's like a 1 out of 10, like, uh
Ride to Hell
yeah,
Retribution
that's what I was
is
gonna
my
say.
1 out of 10. Like, that's the only game I can think of that just not not even worth it to.
Like, even, like, walking simulators in my new found perspective, like, they have a reason for existing. They have a
Vanishing of Ethan
mean.
Carter is so good.
Exactly, and I didn't like walking simulators for the longest time, but now that I've played, Little Hope, what was that what it was called?
Little
Quarry.
Hope is the Dark Pictures anthology
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I played that. Quarry, I played, Heavy Rain. And I don't really feel like I'm playing a game, it's more of like this movie experience. I'm getting a lot of emotional feedback. I'm getting a lot of emotional sensitivity instead of the action sensitivity and things like that, and I found a new appreciation for it.
I used to feel that way about Fahrenheit, but then I went back and played it as an adult and was like, "Wow, this is way cornier than
Oh,
I
it's
remember."
corny. It is corny. Yep.
Ugh. I don't watching a video game's not why I play a video game.
Mhm.
It's why Uncharted's not my cup of tea. And I think of when I think of a game like the Dark Pictures anthology, Little Hope, Man of Medan, games like that, or the Telltale games, point and click adventures. What makes those stand out is there are so many different endings and experiences and things you can do and decisions you make. It is actually interactable
Mhm.
to some degree. I like when I play a game like Uncharted, and I've played Uncharted 1 a good few times in my life. It's run forward, climb a wall, shoot forward, run forward. There's not much
Well,
else outside, and it's not like, and that's subjective to some people. Like, there's exciting
absolutely.
stuff going on, but to me, like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more there.
It's the same reason why I never enjoyed Assassin's Creed, but I feel like that's a market that I was well beyond.
I think Assassin's Creed is one of those things that got way oversold and I mean, I don't want to say like overrated because it's not. Subjectively, people can like what they like. But at a technical level, it was
Boring?
taken as way better than what it actually is.
Yeah,
The side quests for the flags were literally designed in a week.
I just oh, what I was gonna say was is I as somebody who grew up on PC and was playing competitive in high school and was doing like CS 1.6 and Team Fortress comps and going to Call of Duty comps, I think my level of experience and my level of ability just when Assassin's Creed became a thing and I had played it for the first time, I think what had happened was I was just bored. I was so bored because there was very little input that you have to do. The game plays itself for the most part, and I just didn't have fun.
It got to later in the series, people were like, "Oh, Assassin's Creed 2 is so good. Ezio is the best character," and it turned out that it was literally the same game.
It was, yeah.
Like, beginning to end, it was the exact same game, and it was a little more fluid, and that just made it like, I'm not saying that because I was just complaining that I don't care for Grand Theft Auto because it's not fluid enough. Assassin's Creed hit a point where it got to be so fluid, it felt like you were doing nothing.
Yeah.
At least Assassin's Creed 1 is clunky enough to give you, like, something to do.
I think that's why I appreciate speedrunning so much is some of the things that people do are just out of this world. They make clunky games look and feel smooth. And that's what I always attempted to do with Silent Hill 1 is when you watch me play Silent Hill 1, I don't want it to look clunky. I want it to look like I know what I'm doing because I'm good at tank controls.
Right. When I play video games in general, I don't ever want it to look like I know what I'm doing or I'm bad or I'm good or whatever. I just like I can go from being extremely well versed and have incredibly good game sense to all of a sudden doing something totally brain dead that I know won't work, that I know won't get me anywhere, and I just want to do it anyway because it's all about having fun.
Right. And I think I've just passed that slightly. I mean, I do still like the exploration. Like I plan on 100%ing Neon White. And there's a lot of exploration in that. Like you have to find the gifts, you have to find the shortcuts. But that's still
Right.
speedrunning in a sense.
I'm playing through Resident Evil 4 again for the thousandth time. I play through it every couple of weeks, maybe. I don't know. And every time I play through it again, I try to practice my speedrun strategies a little bit here and there. And then about halfway through, when I get to the castle, just beyond all of the catapults and shit, I'm like, woo, through the hardest part, and I fuck off everything.
That's awesome. But are there any game? Okay, I don't mean to deviate the conversation. First off, are there any games that you've played that you will never go back to, like intentionally never go back to that you've beaten?
That I've beaten that I'll never Jimmy Neutron, Attack of the Twonkies.
That's so random.
I know. It's a platformer. It's not a good there are good and bad collectathon platformers. It is a bad, very, very choppy, very buggy collectathon platformer. It's not the worst game I've ever played, but it's also a game that I have literally no desire to ever play again.
I meant more something you enjoyed.
Something that I enjoyed that I don't want to go back and play again.
Mine's Red Dead 2. I will never touch that game again.
Um, so that's a hard one for me because there are a lot of like I've played some really, really good shit.
Hmm.
Mad Father,
Mad Father.
the the one experience I had playing that game was good enough for me to never wanna go back to it.
That the that's the survival horror game, right?
Yeah, RPG Maker,
Yeah,
yeah.
by Playism.
It's a great game, the art is fantastic, some of the puzzles are excellent, it's not too long, like, it's worth a playthrough, but it just leaves such a greater impact if I don't go playing through it 100 times.
Right. What about
Because like, the second time through, the scares mean nothing.
what was the one with the moon?
To the Moon is
To
just
the
so
moon.
it's I would play that thousands of times over again because it's good. It's so good. It's just too good.
Right. I played that one 3 times, so I can't even say that one. There's a lot of games on my channel that, like, I only intended to play one time and never go back to, and Resident Evil Village and 7, I don't think I'll go back to, but again, I can't say because I went back to Village 3 times now, and I've beaten 7 8 times. Like, they're
I can't
incredible.
keep I can't keep my hands off of Resident Evil. It's kinda hard for me
Mhm.
not to play them because I have so many of them, they are everywhere.
What are you looking forward to playing?
Resident Evil 4, but also, I want Perfect Dark. I want more I want the new Perfect. There's no information about it. Apparently, it's been stuck in dev hell. I want more info on Perfect Dark. That is the one game I give a shit about in the future.
You're not looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy, you're not looking forward to Atomic Heart, nothing?
Not particularly. There's nothing on my mind that's like standing out. Tekken,
Tekken.
Tekken 8.
That's a good one.
Anyone in the audience who doesn't know, big fan of Tekken. I've wasted a few thousand hours playing Tekken over my lifetime.
Is there any word on Medium 2?
No, Silent Bloober Hill 2 is coming out first, and we got some more stuff on that not that long ago.
You excited for that?
I'm very excited for that, but that's for a whole different reason. I don't we've talked about this before. I'm not a super fan of Silent Hill. I have problems with a good few games in the series,
Mhm.
but Silent Hill 2 is a good game, and Bloober Team is an exceptional dev team.
Well, you know my feelings.
It's Silent Hill. You're gonna play it.
I wanna
You're
beat
gonna,
it, like, 90 times.
yeah, you're
I
gonna do
love it.
Pyramid Head. Silent Hill 2, now with more Pyramid Head.
Silent Hill 2 didn't have Pyramid. No, it did. Silent Hill 1 didn't, and 3
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, Pyramid Head was James Sunderland's monster.
Yeah.
He was there to collect his screams in the yellow tank and whatever.
His biomass needed to be restored. Oh, well, you gotta kill your wife at some point.
Oh, Dead Space remake came out. I want to play that. I haven't I'm not like super excited about it. I don't Dead Space isn't like my favorite horror game ever,
Mhm.
but I've heard good things about it, so it's worth a playthrough.
Yeah, Alan Wake Remastered and Dead Space Remastered are on my to-do list.
Lollipop Chainsaw 2, I think, got announced.
I haven't even played the first one yet. Is it on can I is it on Steam?
I've played no, it's a console only game. I've played Lollipop Chainsaw, and it is as far as hack and slash games go, it's better than No More Heroes in control, but way worse in setting.
Okay. I'll have
Like
to
I
give
think
that a
having a
shot.
head this is a hot take. I think having a head hanging from your waist bitching at you while you're playing a game sucks. And that's my problem with God of War. I still haven't beaten God of War for the second time because I just cannot listen to Balder. It's there's something terrible having a head bitch at you while you're trying to do stuff. It throws off the whole flow of combat.
I gotta beat Chains of Olympus. Oh, man. After Neon White, I'll do Chains of Olympus.
You're a chain of Olympus.
Did you see any of my alternative content that I was doing?
Uh, Alternative, like,
Yeah, I was doing, like, the setup guides for our PCS3, and then I did
oh
the
yeah,
largest mystery of Zelda no one talks about.
that video did extremely well.
Did you watch my creepypasta video?
No, you did a video. You did a creepypasta, and you
Yeah,
didn't tell
I
me.
wrote a creepypasta.
You wrote a creepypasta.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you gotta say things like that.
Yeah, I wrote and directed my own Zelda creepypasta story.
Wow. Your largest Mystery of Zelda video is up to 778 views as of
Mhm.
this moment. That's a damn good turnout. A shout outs to everybody who watched that video. You're a real legend.
Thank you. You like that video, huh?
It was good stuff.
I know you said you
Uh
had to make some coffee and get some popcorn for that one.
yeah, this is because like an hour of Zelda is a lot. I don't play a lot of Zelda. It's not my thing.
Can we expect Omni Obscurium Season 2 to have some Zelda?
We can. If you're gonna do
No.
you're gonna do Wind Waker, I
Mhm.
was thinking about playing through Twilight Princess. We can talk about our
Ooh.
experiences between the 2. That'd probably make for a good conversation piece.
Well, I wanna cover both of them because I have the HD versions of both of them. I
Right.
wanna cover both of them on my channel as well. I wanna do a full narrative let's play.
If you do that, I will play both of the original GameCube versions.
Oh, interesting. That'll make a cool dynamic.
Yeah.
That's about everything I've been up to. I mean, Dan's been Feeney, he's been coming out a lot. We've been working on his YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to go support Feeney, go support
Yeah,
Feeney.
go subscribe. It's good stuff there.
He's making shorts. He does like trick shots and things like that in shorts, but
He's
he
he's eating shorts, corduroy, and and cargo and khaki and all kinds of shorts that start with a cuss sound.
but for FTP, when we play it, he's going to be doing montage style let's plays of it. So when we do our free to play games, FTP free to play, he'll have content over there that has full episodes. So that should be
Good
pretty cool.
stuff.
Yeah. Nice
Are
collaborative
you
effort.
gonna stick around and hang out while get into streaming Resident Evil?
I don't know.
Provide my audience content, or are you gonna dip out on me?
I might edit. I got some editing I'm behind on, but I can probably stick around while I do that.
Nice.
I want to edit this episode of Omnia Obscurum, The Returnal. Oh yeah, and Returnal's coming to PC. I'm excited for that.
Shoutouts to everybody who edits their own videos.
Me, you, you other people. Oh, did you follow the Seth the Programmer drama?
No?
Oh, that shit
What?
went hard. That shit went hard, man. I recommend you look that one up. I don't want to state any opinions because there's not enough information as of right now, but that shit went down crazy.
I'll look into that.
It's
I
pretty
didn't hear
wild.
anything.
Yeah,
There
and
was there was drama with Tim Pool and somebody, and I don't remember what.
who the fuck cares about Tim Pool?
I don't know, but like, okay, so some people care about Tim Pool
Yeah, like
and the
his mom.
quartering and dudes like, and there was like something happened a couple of days ago,
By the way,
and
it's
I
not
don't
that I
remember
don't
what.
care about them as people. It's I don't care about the things that they say. As people, I'm sure they're okay, unless they're not, because Tim Pool has said some pretty fucked up stuff. That's the guy who was like, we all deserve to own nukes, right?
I don't know.
I'm Googling that.
I don't listen to Tim Pool enough to know what the fuck.
Hang on. Here's the quote. Tim Pool says that the Second Amendment protects the individual right to own nuclear and biological weapons.
Well, no.
It's just a bad take.
um,
Whatever.
I mean, I'd like to have a zombie as much as the next guy, but what if we didn't?
Yeah, what if we
What if
just
we don't?
don't? What else has happened, man? There's been a lot in between season 1 and season 2.
There are UFOs literally
UFOs.
everywhere.
Yeah. We're shooting down multiple school bus sized air balloons.
And one that was like octagon shaped apparently.
I got no idea.
Eh, weird as hell. A lot of stuff going on around. The world's a wild and wacky place.
Things are so bizarre.
Go watch
Oh,
Serial Experiments Lane.
I didn't finish my statement earlier. For Atomic Heart, what a lot of people are worried about is the investors are from like major Russian companies, and they're worried that if it turns a massive profit, the money will go back to the Russian industry and military complex. So a lot of people, especially those of Ukrainian descent, are stating at least donate to us in some way, like you might be accidentally contributing to the war effort of Russia. And
Wild and heavy. We don't cover too many heavy real world topics on the
mhm,
show. And
it's
you know what?
deep.
That's a real like just for a second, I'd like to stop and appreciate that we are in a calm and collected place.
Mhm.
Like there's something
We are blessed to be
it's
where we are.
honestly, the world is it's super sporadic. There's so much shit going on. It is like I'm very thankful to be even able to have the conversation that we've had
Hmm.
because it's one of those things that like with the state of things right now, who knows what the future looks like for free conversation.
Beanie and I were just talking about that the other day because we joke about it all the time. Like, if you state an opinion, he'll be like, "No, you're not allowed to have an opinion." He'll be like, "Get out of my car, no opinions." But it's a
Get out of my car now.
no opinions, yeah. But because we're just we're the kind of people who are like, no, opinions are good, and you should communicate them, and you should learn and have experiences.
Don't you know if you have an opinion, uh
You also have a butthole.
yeah, if you have an opinion, you therefore have skin cells. Didn't you know?
I didn't. I didn't know that.
There's deoxyribonucleic acid does in fact run through you.
Wow. What about RNA?
Wow, ribonucleic acid. What does that even do?
Um, don't know off the top of my head. I should know that, but I don't.
That's something that you're supposed to learn in like high school science. Or I feel like I learned that not that long
Oh,
ago.
I have another story. My family won't play trivia crack with me anymore.
Because you're too smart for them, too thick brained.
It takes me 2 turns and I win every game.
What? How does
I
that even
have a
happen?
perfect win streak. Out of
You just like
36 games, I have 0 losses.
you get them to press FF early.
They get the GGs in the chat and then never play with me again.
Dang. Stop smurfing on your family, bro.
No, I'm not smurfing. It's my legit account.
No, no, no.
I don't know. Just my mom messaged me and she's like, "Yeah, nobody's gonna play with you anymore." I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's sad.
I thought it was
Sad
funny.
days, man.
I'm looking to buy a movie theater couch set.
Like bigger than the couch you've got there.
Hmm. I want an L-shaped one that has the in the middle. It has the cup holders and stuff.
You can get there's a company that does sectional pieces
Hmm.
that they advertise on television constantly, and I can't think of their name.
They're at Big Lots now. I saw them when I was there. It's just the price is a bit too high right now.
Mm.
Like 1,400 for the full set.
Thanks, all of
Yeah,
government.
thanks, Big Furniture.
Thanks. Yeah, big furniture out here price gouging. What's going on?
Yeah, thanks for your stapled pleather, my vegan leather couch. They're nice though. I like them. I want to save up and get a pair. I'm also gonna buy a Arc card. I'm gonna be doing some content on the Arc card. Arc GPU.
Intel is not a GPU company.
No, that's why I'm curious about it. The prices aren't too
I,
bad for the best one. It's like $400.
I don't think we should encourage this. Intel is not a GPU company.
Hey man, I'm just curious.
Listen, I still use a first gen Core i7.
I
That's
know.
unrelated to anything. I just wanted to mention that again.
Oh, $350. I can get an A770 right now. I mean, it's essentially buying a 16 gigabyte 3060.
It's that's not bad. What are 3060s going for right now?
Yeah, like 800?
There's
Oh,
3060.
370.
Actually, actually, you could probably find one pretty fucking cheap. They're cheaper than they were before.
You don't have a
So
3060, you have a 1070, right?
I have a 1060.
1060. Gotcha. That'd be something worth you considering saving up for.
Well,
We're,
okay,
we're going into 4th gen, so
you know me though.
I do.
I want to use this bare minimum hardware for as long as it'll survive.
I understand. But you could always think about it.
I will always have a YouTube channel stuck 10 years behind everybody else.
As will I apparently. Apparently I completely missed the opening for getting content or getting viewers for Red Dead. Like, it was there, and then it was gone, and then my series started.
Bad.
So in
You
my
know, Swagta is good proof that, like, some games are always common and popular.
wait, can I just tell you what's in my shopping cart for Newegg right now?
But
2 Sapphire Pulse Radeon RX 6400 low profile cards and an Intel Arc A770.
my god.
Yep.
But what about a GT 220?
Nope.
It's got 512 more megabytes of VRAM,
Yeah,
I think.
I think so.
I don't remember actually.
I think that was one of the first 1 gigabyte cards during the DD3, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever talk about, like, technology on Omnia Obscura? Well, I guess we did. We did with the consoles.
We did a little bit. I'd like to talk a little bit about like PCs and the things we've done with PCs and stuff because you built a lot of PCs. I've built a lot of PCs. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some interesting story to be told there.
I currently have 8 computers.
I've got let me hold on. I've got one
I think you
six
yeah, you
that
have
are
6.
operational.
Yeah. I don't know, PCs are just cheap. I don't know. People are always acting like PCs are super expensive, but the more I look at it, it's literally a drop in the bucket.
They're some of the cheapest things I own,
I'm
probably.
also yeah, I'm also pretty, like, content money-wise, so I guess that's also kind of not a fair
I'm
statement.
not. I'm not, and even I kind of like I put the effort and money aside into putting together a decent enough PC over a period of time.
And
Like
what cracks me up about you is you make more than enough to have, like, an insane PC. Like, you could easily get a 13700K, you could easily get, like, a 3080, 4070 Ti, and you're just like, "Nah, bro. Nah, I'm gonna buy 10 Intel i7s first gens and build 10 i7
because
rigs."
they're all like they were all like $5. You can get an Intel i7 860 for like $5, a quad core 8 thread CPU. The only things it's missing is AVX 512 instructions, right? Which is fine because only a few things use that. It's still such a good CPU for the medium range.
It's true.
And that's not me bullshitting. That's me being like, listen, if you've got 4 cores and 8 threads, you can do just about everything. Maybe not everything, but almost. Technology is not so far advanced in the future that you're incapable of doing shit. I feel like we think about things like that, and I felt this way about the AI problem too. We think about technology right now as if we are living in the apex, the pinnacle of technology, and things are inhuman. When in reality, things are about the same as they were 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
They're just a lot faster.
It's really all it is. And there's more people making stuff.
Right.
Like,
There's more exposure, there's more collaboration, there's more open source, there's just more going into it than there was. And that's like AI specifically, if I can go back to that, is just glorified procedural generators. There's no intuition, therefore it's not intelligent. There's not really much to call it AI, but people call it AI anyway, and it creates this like false perception that it's so much more advanced than it is.
um, breaking conversation, and this is not a sponsored statement, but have you seen PCB Way's new project sharing?
Haven't.
So if you go over to pcbway.com/project, you can actually get, like, USB-C type mods to solder into your Game Boy SP and stuff.
Oh,
Super cool.
is this like the parts and components for the I sent you that video or I posted the video in the Discord for the little Game Boy SP console box.
That's what got me looking into it, yeah.
Yeah, it's super neat tech.
There's all these people who are just, like, releasing everything that you need to buy, and they'll print you the PCB because it's not a commercial product, you have to make it yourself. But damn, dude, there's some super cool stuff, I currently
You were
have in
looking
my
into
cart.
getting unrelated but kind of related. You were looking into getting a mechanical keyboard or a mechanical fret keyboard or Guitar Hero guitar.
Yep, yep.
Those are always interesting.
They're really rare, but I really want one.
If you can play one, it's the best way to play, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You right. When you right, you right.
I still play Clone Hero with a 2002 Gibson Explorer or 2006 Gibson Explorer. So
There's so much stuff here. You can buy a Pico a ZX Spectrum 128K right now, and it's all custom.
isn't there a company that like does new Amiga stuff?
Yeah,
See, that's the beauty of the internet. There's stuff everywhere, and it's not that it's more advanced. It's just that there are more stuff. There's all this stuff.
here's a reproduction Nintendo. Or, well, I'll just say this reproduction NES controller that you build from scratch. That's nuts. I want one.
You can buy USB Super Nintendo controllers for $1
I know.
for
But to build one and then just like put LEDs
the
in it
fun
or
of it.
something and put it on a shelf and just give it the power.
Tell your friends, be like, "Look, yo, I'm an engineer. I built a controller. What have you done with your life?"
I was currently watching there's a he's like 15 or something. He's on YouTube. If I remember his name, I'll drop it in the comment section. But he developed a oscilloscope that you can just USB-C into your phone and then use an app and you have a oscilloscope that fits in your pocket.
That's super neat.
Like mind-bending technology that we didn't think was gonna happen, and there it is.
That is extremely neat. On the other end of the spectrum, uh, do we need an oscilloscope in our pocket?
Sure.
For what?
The question is what not?
Sure.
Maybe I wanna know what my Wi-Fi is oscillating at, and then I can mod it. Maybe I need to know the frequency of a cable and make sure it matches
Maybe
to a
you're
speaker.
randonauting and you ripped a wormhole in space-time and you want to know
And
if the
now
wormhole is causing magnetic disruption.
I'm being attacked by the rake, and I'm like, "Hmm."
Maybe it's necromorphs.
And then
Who knows?
Slender Man came across, and I
Oh,
was like,
dang,
"Oh,
they got that,
man."
Jeff the Killer joined the party, and they just had a
Yeah.
big orgy pile.
And they were fighting, that Minecraft guy, what's his name?
Man, this sounds like Smash Brothers.
New Super Smash Brothers mod now available. But
Damn.
I think that I've said everything I wanted to say. That was fun.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good episode. Thanks to everybody are we out already?
No, we're not out. You can say,
Okay, and thanks to everybody for watching, and do the likes and the bells and the subscribe and stuff.
yeah. And let me know if you like the new artwork. I spent 15 hours on
Better fucking like it.
it.
Otherwise, I'll cry,
Yeah.
and then I'll cry some more, and then I'll probably get over it.
And then I'll be like, right, don't cry. It's okay, man.
Yeah, and then I'll grow legs, even though they don't exist.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Go check out Red, as always. And subscribe to the channel if you're interested in it. And we will see you guys in the next video. Later.
Later.